to anyone that might be listening to me. I wanted to discuss a conversation that I had with a friend of mine last night because it brought up a very interesting idea, I think. We were talking about the legalization of drugs, and I was saying that it would be better if society legalized drugs, and he took the opposite approach, and he said that, well, he said a lot of things, but most importantly, he was arguing that it would be the collapse of society, and I asked him why he would think such a thing, and he said that it would be because of all the new users, and they would put such a strain on hospitals, since it would no longer be stigmatized. All the users, all the ODing, people would come to the hospitals for treatment. Not that they should be denied treatment, but the thing is, we argued that point, that whether or not there would be all these new users through experimentation during this initial period. And he was saying, of course there would, because people would be curious. And I was saying, no, the people that use it are the ones that are going to be using it. There are going to be a few people that experiment because it's illegal, but most people aren't saying, boy, I want to use LSD. If it just was legal, I'd do so. So we battered back and forth, but neither one of us had any real study to go off of. And I was thinking to that point that wouldn't it be nice, wouldn't it be interesting if someone was to do a sociological study? And that's the idea that I want to bring forward, to see what the percentages would be if people were given the choice to use a drug, whether or not they would, if it was legal to do so. And just in the spur of the moment, I cooked up an idea, and it's barely been refined since. This wouldn't be what you would go to your superior and say, hey, I want to do this, because, well, I'm not a sociologist, and I'm sure there's plenty of problems with my design. But nevertheless, I think that if someone was to do a study like this, it could be at least interesting, at best maybe even groundbreaking, because if there isn't really any threat to society if drugs are legalized, then, well, there's really no problem. So what I was thinking could be done is it could be an anonymous test. The names of the people, the identities wouldn't be released, thereby giving them a higher sense of freedom. And what you would do, maybe, is take a group of people and then split them into 3 separate groups, one of which has current users. As difficult as it might be to get current users of the drug, maybe users that are on a past users or something. I don't know how difficult it would be to get a group of users, but you would need such a group, I think. And then you would have 2 other groups which are of non-current users, and you would give all 3 groups the drug, whatever it may be, and you would have to test each drug separately, because I think that the rates for marijuana would be significantly higher than for meth, just because meth is supposed to be a lot more dangerous, and everyone knows that. And so you would give one of the non-current user groups the drug, quote unquote. It's not actually the drug, just a fake substance, and merely observe the group, and they would be your control group. To see how many people would use the drug if it's there. That's not the best control group, obviously, but I can't think of anything better. Um, there'd be no point just to have a group and just have them sit there because obviously they're not going to use the drug. Um, you could just take the statistics from society, but those are pretty. I mean, they're not the best. I mean, not people don't come out and say, "Hey, I use LSD." Anyway, that's beside the point. Um, and then for the two other groups, you would give them the drug, quote unquote, and then tell them that it for this time it's legal for them to use it, and then provide proof of some document that says it's legal by Congress or something. I don't know. Have some sort of evidence, signature by the president, or video. I don't know. Just some sort of evidence to try to prove it. And the fact that it's anonymous shows that it explains to them, or should be explained to them, that this information won't ever come to anyone else's attention. You know, the friends won't know what choice they made. And then observe then, and see what the rates are for people that already use the drug, who would use it, and of course they'll pick up on whether or not it's a drug pretty quick, I think. And then the groups of people, or the group of people that don't use it currently, and these are the people that you really want to look at. See how high their rates are compared to just normally, whether or not they would use it. I mean, how many people would use it? If it's like a 30% rate, or 20% or 50%. And obviously, like I said, that needs a lot of refinement, but I think that would be a very interesting study. So if anyone listens to this and knows anyone that is a sociologist that specifies in this kind of thing, or even if they don't specify in this kind of thing, pitch it to them so that they can pitch it to a friend of theirs that does specify in it. Because it would be good for society, I think. So that's really all I have. Have fun.